Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. We are back, Soph and Meg are back, recapping a thrilling game of football between Manchester United and Watford. Sarcastically, I'm obviously saying that, but a win's a win. We've made it through. Firstly, I'll start by introducing Meg. Meg, how are you doing?
I'm just about awake, so I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. You've summed it up very nicely within the first 5 seconds of this video. A win is a win, and that's about all I can say about it.
Yeah, I'm sat here feeling so drowsy because I'll be honest, especially in that second half, it was hard to watch at times, wasn't it, Meg? But obviously we made a lot of changes, which we thought we'd do because we need to preserve certain players. But the thing that I must say I'm scratching my head at is Eric Bailly. And I know that you already knew I'd touch on this. We discussed him, obviously, in the week, saying that it doesn't make sense to rest him for Man City yet playing for Watford, but that did happen. And it's unfortunate. Look, Henderson's come out, he's punched the ball like you'd expect your keeper to do, but sound a bit like Balotelli here. But why is it always Bailly, Meg? Why is it always him?
Do you know what? I genuinely didn't think we would see Bailly in the lineup today. I just think if he was going to have rested him, it would have been for this game rather than the other way around. So therefore, when he rested him for Man City, I just presumed that we would also see him rested for this game as well, and he'd come back for the Premier League games. He'd just leave him out of the cup games completely. So I was quite surprised to actually see him in the lineup anyway.
Yeah.
And then to watch him have to walk off just before half time because an injury from one of our own, and I'm not blaming Henderson at all. Henderson's done what he has to do as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But Bailly puts his whole body on the line. He goes to go and win the ball. And it always seems to be him. He's just got this injury curse over his head, hasn't he? And it needs to be lifted. It needs to be lifted. Protect him at all costs.
Yeah, I think with Bailly as well, it's a precaution, isn't it? Fingers crossed it's nothing too serious. He was walking around at the end, he looked a bit concussed, he looked a bit like didn't know where he was, but I'm hoping it is just a precaution and it's not going to be a long break. That's the last thing that we need, definitely. I mean, a lot of people are already trying to put bets on their man of the match, and I think that's going to be an interesting one because I don't think anyone majorly stood out. Obviously, Mctominay got the goal, and a lot of people would say defensively, I think he did well today. But it's just one of them games, Meg. It's really hard to find a lot to talk about, to be honest with you. But we'll start with Donny. Obviously, he got his start today. A lot of people saying it had to be today. Even though you said he should pack his bags if he doesn't start against Watford. But, I mean, in thoughts of his performance today, like I say, he didn't majorly stand out, but he's a tidy player, isn't he?
He was. Do you know what? I'm just glad that he had a full 90 minutes. I'm glad that we've managed, and that not just for Donny as well, goes for a lot of players that they've actually got minutes in the bank. Fresh set of legs. It's different just going to training and then actually not being able to play the games. It's just great to see so many players get the opportunity to have those minutes on the pitch.
Yeah.
Donny with a full 90. I just wished he took the game by the scruff of the neck a little bit more. Had a bit more ruthlessness about him. It was very flat, in my opinion. He had a few little things that he did well, but I just felt like I wanted him to take it by the scruff. It was there for the taking. Somebody could have stepped up and taken it, like I said, by the scruff of the neck, sorted it out, controlled the game a little bit more. And I just felt like he could have been that person. He didn't quite do it for me. But he didn't have a bad performance, but I just feel like there could have been someone that could have done that. And I feel like this was his opportunity to show everybody what we've been waiting for. I really wanted him, I just wanted him to be able to do it.
Yeah, Michael says, nice solid shift for Axel. Donny was also smooth. Bruno rested on to the next happy days. Exactly, we rotated players who still made it through. Wasn't a perfect performance, but the win's a win at the end of the day. But yeah, Axel, I'll touch on him in a minute. But in terms of Donny, I think he's a very tidy player on the ball. I love the little link up when he did the little flick through to Mata. I was watching that like gobsmacked, mouth wide open, just hoping that Mata finished it off. But a great move, and I think that shows what awareness Donny has got. He's a very intelligent player. He's always looking to pass forward, but I felt today there was a lack of movement going forward, so it kind of didn't help him. He didn't have a lot really to pass. No player from the midfield looking up had a lot to pass to be fair. But I just think he's a really intelligent player. I want to see more of him, and I thought he did decent today. I wouldn't give him man of the match, as Giant has said in the chat. I don't think he was man of the match, but I think he had a decent game. But Axel Tuanzebe, Meg, he's come in, he's stepped in yet again, and he's impressed yet again. I mean, he's got to be knocking on the door sooner rather than later, you'd think.
I think it's going to be very difficult to break into that kind of. Well, you've seen how Eric Bailly had to wait so long to break the Maguire and Lindelof mould. Tuanzebe, I think he had a solid performance. It's a clean sheet. Didn't really put a foot wrong in terms of majorly. But I just think it's generally very hard to break a centre half partnership. To do it, when you get these opportunities, once he gets another opportunity, you've got to take it again and again and again, and you've got to put yourself in the manager's mind. You've got to leave something to remember. So I think he had a solid performance. Do I think we'll see him against like a Liverpool? No. I think, like I said, it's very difficult to break a partnership at the back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But like you say, not against Liverpool, but when he stepped in against PSG and he absolutely bodied Mbappe, he's got it in his locker. But I do agree. I think it's an element of trust. We mentioned, does Ollie trust Boye as much as he does Lindelof? Doesn't seem like he does. And I think that, like you say, it's going to be difficult for him to break through. But Tuanzebe on merit, I think I've got to commend him and say, yet again tonight, I thought he was superb. And obviously, he played against two different partners, Maguire coming on as well, and he settled into that fairly quickly as well.
And he moved positions for that as well, which I thought, obviously, Maguire pulled rank a little bit there. He's come on. Tuanzebe was on the left. Maguire comes on. He's now on the left of the two. Tuanzebe slots over to the right. So, and yes, they're playing the same position, but it's really different. You've got to be able to change your complete body shape when you're defending to show people on the outside. If you're playing on the left-hand side, you show them that way. If you're playing on the right-hand side of the two, you've got to show them the other way. So, fair play to him because he slotted in really easily. It was quite fluent in what he did.
Yeah, definitely, I'd agree. What's your thoughts on Mata tonight? Because Mata is a player that I adore. I just love him. I think he seems like a really nice guy. He seems to have glue. You say, whenever you talk about me playing football, you say glue on the boots, but Mata is literally glue on the boots. Like, I've never seen anybody control a ball like one Mata. Like, he's just, at times, breathtaking. And I mentioned it before, he's such an intelligent player, the way he comes, obviously, off the line, drifts in field. And I mentioned the link-up with Donny. I think at times we saw that bit of link-up from one Mata. And do you think that's his role now at Manchester United?
Yeah, I think so. I was actually really surprised that he didn't start as the 10 where Bruno would, and Lingard started in that position. I'm not sure anybody in the chat, but when the lineup came out, that I immediately thought Mata would be playing in the 10, picking up the little bit of space on the turn, and then just from the middle being able to spray the ball, and then he could have dropped in deep to allow Van de Beek to go past him. So I was surprised to actually not see him start in the middle. He's an intelligent player. I just wish he had a little bit more pace about him. Imagine the player that he could have been had he had that pace. But I do think his kind of role in the team now is to just kind of link bits of play up together. Yeah,
and obviously be maybe cup fixtures. If that, to be fair, I think he's going to be a very sporadic player, but nonetheless a great player to have in your squad, one Mata. On Blue said that Ollie has just said that Eric is out for a week. So like I said, I didn't think it'd be too long, but it did look concussed to be fair when he came off. I'm just glad it's not too serious, and obviously I pray that he recovers and recovers quickly. But Maguire came on. How did you think he did when he came on, Meg?
Wasn't he the player of the first half? He had all of that. Literally didn't even touch the ball. Came on, fixed his hair, and then went off again for half time. I think he gets a torrent of abuse, which is unnecessary at times. And again, that whole back line can be proud that they got a clean sheet. And I think Watford did press at times. I don't think they were amazing, but they, you're playing against the 11 that you're faced with, and the Manchester United back five, including the goalkeeper, kept a clean sheet. So you can't say much more than that.
Yeah, Giant agrees with you that Mata should have played in that 10 role rather than Lingard. I mean, Jesse Lingard, obviously, off the field, he's had issues going on and whatnot. He had a lot of stick for his performances on the field. He's been nowhere near a squad, a starting lineup for a while now. So he stepped in today. How did you think he did? I thought he looked busy tonight. It's just, I don't know, Jesse Lingard, I think he's that lack of quality on the ball, isn't it? But he never shies away from it. I think he's always trying to run in behind. He's always mixing it up. I think his movement has always been clever, Jesse Lingard. But it's on the ball, isn't it, Meg? How did you think he did today?
He was busy in that first half. He was picking up the ball. He was working hard. It just didn't seem to flow. But that's probably because these players haven't been in the starting lineup, haven't been playing, haven't had the minutes to create relationships and bonds on the pitch. So I think it is difficult to be able to judge these players their whole season based on this one game. Let's face it, Lingard has not played until this one game, and we're saying he should be able to fit it about, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. And I've just said to you, like, minutes-wise, you can train all you want, but it's not the same, it doesn't replicate a game situation. But I actually thought he was quite busy in that, particularly in the first half. I think he dropped off, maybe it's tiredness during the second half. But he was busy and he was on the ball, he was moving about. So, yes, he wasn't the star player, but I do think he put in a good shift.
I'd agree with you, and I think, like you say, as a team, I thought we started well, to be honest with you. Obviously, we scored fairly early as well. Mctominay with a goal, Captain Mctominay.
That first 20 minutes, I thought, oh, bit of a game going on here. What will the score end up? And by the end of it, we were still in exactly the same position that we were 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah. Curlis here said that we want to see new faces in the window to give us a title push. Do you think that kind of performance today underlines that statement even more, that we need to invest, we need that squad depth? Because we've seen our second team has improved. Like I said, Donny van der Beek coming into it has improved, whereas before you'd have the likes of Andreas Pereira, like, and we've obviously got rid of certain players. Do you think that this transfer window now we should be focusing on getting that squad depth? Obviously, centre-back is a position that maybe we could be considering.
I actually think we rely on certain players so much that, like we said today, Van der Beek hasn't really been playing. He's never had he hasn't had a 90-minute game, and he's probably one of our main players in this second squad that we often see on the bench. But because we rely on the same players week in, week out, do we need new players coming in? We don't need a whole. Someone put to me on Twitter the other day about, I think it was on a comment on one of our videos about 7 players need to chop. Now, realistically, that's not going to happen. You're not going to chop 7 players, and you're also not then going to get 7 replacements in during one window. I feel like we need to be able to not just rely on certain players, and the ones that are on the fringe a little bit, who come on, for instance, like James, if we're going to keep him, he needs to be more consistent when he comes on, so that we don't need fresh faces, but we just need to be able to rely on the ones that we're bringing on.
Yeah. Siobhan says, all I wanted is a decent centre-back this January. How hard can it be? We know how hard we make deals at United, if you just know that. Curtis says, it's quality players, we need creative ones. Look at the lack of play on the left all game, so if nothing there, 2 or 3 smart signings would work wonders. I agree, I do think we need to do business from the window, how realistic it'll be with the whole COVID situation and how difficult it is for clubs to do the business, but we definitely need to invest. I mean, we've known that for a while now, and I hope that we do invest. But I don't want us to be signing players, and I'm sure Meg would agree with me on this one, players for the sake of players. We want players who are actually going to fit the mould, and they are the kind of signings that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking for. But Meg, we're through to the next round. Obviously, you have to take a win as a win. But I want to touch on a certain player for Watford. Sarr was linked with us literally consistently for a few windows now. Do you think that he stood out tonight? Do you think that he looks a decent player?
This is like no disrespect. I know that we're only one league below us. I think he plays well for that level. In terms of the players that he's got around him, I would say Sarr in the Watford team is a good player. Do I think that he looked like he should be in our team tonight? I didn't stand. Do you know what I mean? I was surprised they took him off, because I think he's a good player for them.
Yeah.
Would it change if he was around better players more? So if he was training with better players, could we see even push him even further potentially? But that's just a risk, isn't it, that you take?
Yep, I agree. Didn't notice zonal marking. Am I wrong? I mean, thank you so much for the super chat. Firstly, to her, but Meg, what's your thoughts? Set pieces, we look so vulnerable. Obviously, we have been doing zonal marking. We seem to do a bit of both. I don't know if you see that as well, but it's all like Boye and certain players stood off, and other players are marking. I think we do a bit of a mixture.
It's funny actually. We've just had literally 2 super chats, both about the other one says about Maguire and headers, and this one's talking about set pieces as well and marking about it. I think set pieces. I mean, we scored off one, which I was like, bloody hell, gobsmacked at that. Eventually, the day has come that we scored off a set piece. But defending them, I actually quite like a mix of zonal and man marking. If you've got the opportunity to leave a player free to go and attack, or at least man the middle area, I actually quite like doing that as a way of defending, because then you allow one player to just kind of not have to have the responsibility of blocking a player as well. But that first half, I think, God knows how many corners they had or free kicks, and they were winning them. Every header, it looked as if they could have gone on and scored from a set piece. So it was disappointing to kind of see us not make that first header, that first ball coming in.
I think we're vulnerable off set pieces, I really do, and whether that's down to the way that we're marking or whether it's due to the other team having a run on us, I don't know what it is, but we are very, very vulnerable off set pieces, and that's why I said that. I still felt we could concede because I felt we were vulnerable from them positions, and Watford are quite a physical side, and I don't trust us. Thank you so much for the super chat, De Gea, and then we've got another one from Iron Blue. He said, "What do you think about Maguire and his headers? Tell us putting some great crosses into the box today." We've said this so many times, Meg. Maguire seems to connect with them, but he can't direct them. What's happening?
There was one he managed to get above the player, made a good connection, but he just didn't keep it down. The guy should be scoring more goals. Simply, he should just be scoring more goals. And I don't know what it is, because the ball is there to be won. It's aiming in him. He knows it's aiming. We most likely direct it to Harry Maguire. And I just don't understand why he doesn't get more goals. I really don't.
Because a lot of time you see he actually meets the header, he gets there, he wins it first, but then it just seems to ping off in all directions.
Like a 50
you said 20 pence head as a kid, didn't you? You say you got a 20 pence head, and that's what Maguire literally is. Like, he seems to bounce off in all directions. You just can't seem to direct it. But at Leicester, we saw it so often where he'd get those bullet headers. So I don't know what it is. Whether it's lack of confidence, he's not really attacking. I don't know what it is. But
even if it's not an actual shot off Harry Maguire, if it's more like playing off his header, but it's kind of going to him and he's having a shot and it's not working because he's not getting it on target. If he's directing it back across the goal, then fair enough. But then, like we saw the other night, he won one, and then Martial and Lindelof weren't at the back post to get on the end of it. Yeah. It's just, he's either got to make a good connection and get it on target for a shot, to be playing off him, and he's winning the header, and we're then following up for the second one.
Yeah, Lewis said it sums up perfectly. Not going to lie, it was a boring game. It was definitely a boring game. I thought it was going to get to extra time towards the end as well. I can't lie. But then they had that free kick on the edge, and then they just hit the first man. That was so frustrating for them. Nippon says McTominay's underrated. Meg, would you agree with that? Do you think McTominay's underrated? Because we've discussed McTominay in the past, and obviously today got the captain's armband over Mata, which a lot of people were a bit confused about. But do you think he's finally trying to prove the haters wrong?
I think, do you know what? The commentator said, the stream that I was watching, he's 23. And I think a lot of people forget that. He's still very young. So don't think he's underrated. I just don't think his age is appreciated just yet. I mean, he's playing like he's a lot older. He's playing like he's got a lot more experience. I think I was disappointed actually that he handed the captain's armband over to Maguire when he came on. I feel like once he dropped the captain's armband, his performance didn't drop, I'm not saying that, but I just think it was so special for him and momentum for him to actually lead the team out, that when he kind of lost the armband, it just didn't flow as well for him. I think he worked extremely hard. I always think he works extremely hard as well.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that he's the greatest, but I always think he worked hard.
Yeah, I think on the ball he needs to improve. I think a few times you saw a few stray passes.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to force it sometimes, but defensively, I think, like you say, he reads the ball well, smells danger, and he covers pretty much every blade of grass. And yeah, I think McTominay, I probably would say he's underrated. I think a lot of this fan base still don't rate him, and I think it's because he's not like a glamorous style of player, is he? He's just a CDM who sits in there, tries to keep it simple, smells danger, wins the ball back, and it's just that got a bit of grit in the middle. And I think him with Fred works really well. Another debate: De Gea or Henderson. Henderson seems very unsecure and has been poor. Right now, there is a class difference. Do you think since Henderson's come to United, do you think that this shows why? Because a lot of people were screaming, "Get rid of De Gea, put Henderson straight in as number one." And I remember us saying on here, it's a big step up to go from Sheffield United to Manchester United. It's a big step up for a keeper. And do you think that's showing now that he still needs to get that experience?
I actually think it's a really unfair debate, because let's not forget Hendo's played, 5 games for United? He made his Old Trafford debut the other night. And I think that's a really unfair debate to have, because I think you can't compare the two of them when someone's played 5 games, made his Old Trafford debut this week, compared to De Gea that's been here for God knows how many seasons, been our player of the season numerous times. I think Henderson, I like the fact that De Gea is almost taken Henderson under his wing. I like the fact that as a second goalkeeper, you've got someone like David De Gea to look up to as first choice. I think it's really unfair on Henderson to be able to be kept comparing the pair of them right now. Henderson at Sheffield United did so well because he had to, and I think that showed how much of a good goalkeeper he is. But he's got time to do that at Manchester United. I don't think he's not stepped in and been the same goalkeeper, but he hasn't got the same role. I think Sheffield United did rely upon him heavily. I think we can see that now, especially where Sheffield United are sat at the table. But I do think it was it's an unfair kind of debate right this second to compare the two of them, because he hasn't had that time at Manchester United just yet to be able to build him up and up and up. In the future, I think it'll be a really good debate if we keep hold of Henderson, and as time goes on, obviously De Gea's going to get older, probably will move on, to watch then Henderson grow into a Manchester United first choice goalkeeper. In 5-6 years, let's have the debate then, and let's compare them then. But for now, I like just the fact that they've got the pair of them together, and Henderson's going to learn so much.
And obviously competition for places, I know we consistently say that, but competition is healthy, and the fact that De Gea's got Henderson behind him and no doubt improve his performances as well, and Henderson's got something to strive for, so I think it's kind of the perfect situation right now because Henderson is still so young as well. Rebuild FC makes a really good point. He says Hendo was a bit indecisive, but how was De Gea's first few seasons, I'd say, at United? Any fans remember? It's true though, isn't it? Like, it's early in the day for Henderson's career at United. He's going to mature. He's learning from one of the best in De Gea. It's a perfect situation for me. It really is. And as someone said it just that his day will come. And I completely agree with that. I think his day will come. And we'll get the best out of Henderson in the long run. But like I say, I like the competition and I think it's healthy for both of them. But I do think Henderson looks like a very, very talented keeper. And I'm glad that we've got him at United because I think he will be England's number one in the future as well. Definitely. De Gea is getting a bit old. Quality keepers are rare and expensive. Like I say, he's learning from one of the best in having De Gea as his mentor, isn't he? Henderson is in his perfect situation for the age that he is right now. Meg, we're going to go through the player ratings. Obviously, 5 is our average rating for most players. 5 is an average. Anything below that is like they've been really, really bad. And obviously, you go above that if you think they've done better than average. Get in the chat and join in, guys, and let us know your ratings for each player as well. And of course, we're going to start with Dean Henderson in goal. I mean, Meg, what's your thoughts on his performance? Well, he knocked out Eric Bailly for one. So what are you giving him out of 10 today?
-1 then for that. No. I think, listen, like I said before, obviously, yes, it was his knee that clapped onto Eric Bailly, but as a goalkeeper, it's nice to see that he's committed to going and winning the ball. I'd actually give him a 7. I think it's above average. I don't think anyone stood out. Like we said, it was a dull game to really watch. I said it about Van der Beek. I thought it was his opportunity to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Nobody really did that, but for Henderson, that comment, I don't know who just put it, just flashed up. Didn't really get tested. No big save needed to be made, but he did his job. He got a clean sheet. So 7.
Majority of people, Kip said 7, De Gea said 7, Henderson 7, 5 didn't really have anything to do, so on average. Asif said 7, 8 for Henderson, 7. Yeah, I think a 7 is pretty much an average. Some people saying a 5. You know that tackle that he made, his face afterwards, by the way, had me creasing. Did you see like the little smirk that he had afterwards? Like it was like relief that he timed it right. But yeah, I think 7's a fair enough score for Henderson, slightly above average, but like a lot of people have said, to be fair, he wasn't tested a lot. Really, was it? It's hard to give him any higher than that. Brandon Williams on the right side then, Meg. Thoughts on his performance? A lot of people think that a loan move would be good for him. I know he's been linked with Newcastle lately as well. Do you think that would suit him?
I do think if he gets more minutes and more opportunity to play, obviously the more you play, I think the better you can get. I think he will become, again, he's so young still that he does need this time to grow into the Premier League a little bit. A loan move probably would be a good idea for him.
Yeah, I think it would. And Newcastle, to be fair, wouldn't be a bad side. They've just signed a fullback, I'm sure, but I think Williams, that would be a good move for him, still playing in the Premier League as well. I think defensively, he gets caught out quite a lot. To be honest, I think he's a bit rash at times. This is tough. I'll probably go. There you go. A few people in the chat are saying it's 6. I was going to say 5.5, 6 would be my rating for him. 5.5 may be a bit harsh. I mean, Meg, what's your thoughts on a 6 for Williams?
I'll go with a 6, yeah. I'll agree with that.
Surprisingly uncomfortable. I do think he looked uncomfortable at times. I do think he did look uncomfortable. One thing I will say about Williams, though, I do think he makes some good runs going forwards. I think he is always fairly positive on the overlap. He does get forward. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 6.
He hasn't been playing, has he? So I think to come in and
that's what I mean.
A lot of players to come in. A lot of these players haven't been playing regularly, so it's difficult to just walk into and be a shining star. But I actually think he did okay.
Bro, I'll start with Boye. We'll judge on obviously what we saw of Eric Boye. I'm just gutted that he had to go off so early, like you said, Meg. But on his first half performance, how did you think he did?
Again, don't think he did much wrong. Don't think he overly put a foot out of place. Above average, I'd say. I'll go for a 6.5.
6.5, yeah. You know what? I really like the look of him and Tuanzebe, to be fair, as well. A lot of pace at the back. I thought a few times you saw them try and play a ball over the top and they just looked so assured at the back. You weren't scared that they were going to overrun us, really. So, yeah.
I think the only problem with that pairing is that they lack a little bit of experience. And that's probably because they don't get played often enough. I do think they are a good pairing together. I like them as individual players as well, but I don't think they have enough experience actually playing to be considered anything against Lindelof and Maguire. I only forgot who I was talking about then.
The only way to get the experience is by playing, though, Meg. The only way to get it is by Ollie playing them, to be fair. Tuanzebe then, how did you think he did? Obviously, he got the full game. Like you say, he had to switch up position as well. I thought he was solid, to be honest with you.
I actually think he had a really good game. I'm going to go up there with the Henderson and give him a 7. Like I said, I actually like him as an individual player. He moved over, he obviously played both sides in that centre-half position. I think he did all right. I don't know what 8 and 8 for Tuanzebe, 7. I actually think he was probably one of our strongest players on the pitch tonight.
He was, to be fair. You know what? I'm going to go in the middle for you guys in the chat. I'm going to say 7.5 because we've got a few 7s and we've got a few 8s. So I'm going to go 7.5 for him. And then Telles, I mean, he did whip a few good crosses in from corners. Obviously got the assist for the goal as well. But is that overall game, Meg, how do you think he did defensively?
Defensively, I think he did all right. I actually think just his whole performance was very good. Some cracking balls going into the box as well. Probably up there for one of the man of the match performances. I think between him, Tuanzebe and McTominay were probably the top 3 players on the pitch. So another 7, I think, from me.
Yeah, and most of the chat seem to be agreeing with that one as well. A 7, that's quite unanimous. Goal scorer then, and captain for the first 40 minutes or whatever it was, Scott McTominay. How did you think he did, Meg? A lot of people obviously are undecided on him and whether he's good enough for United, but I thought he played well tonight.
I think he did. I think there were some cheap balls that he gave away, just sloppy passes that were cut out by Watford players and on a different day against different opposition could lead to a break. So I think that's something that you've got to be wary of, something you've got to work on. Just kind of like passes that he didn't look properly, hasn't seen the Watford player in between them. But he got the goal within the 5 minutes and ultimately that won us the match. So for me, at least a 7.5, at least. He alone didn't win the game, but his goals won the match, and that's the difference. So it's got to be at least a 7.5.
We'll go 7.5 then, the same as Tuanzebe. And you know what? When you look back at the performance, McTominay got the goal, but in terms of the actual performances, it's quite hard to choose between the two because they both had a decent game. And I agree with you, McTominay, with the ball. I think he tried to force it a few times, gave the ball away, played a few stray, crossed the field, suicide balls, we'd like to call them, as footballers, and got away with it, whereas on another day, he probably wouldn't have got away with it. I agree with you. But out of position, I think his work rate, he sniffed danger, defended really, really well. He filled in when the fullbacks were out of position. He filled in, obviously, when Boye went off as well. I thought defensively today, it was just as important as his goal, really. I thought his work rate was quality. And like I say, he just covers every blade of grass. So, yeah, I think a solid game, 7.5 or an 8 is what I would have given him as well. Donny then. This is a hard one to judge.
It is. I think you can see that he's such a talented player just by the way that he plays football. So just by watching, you know that he knows what to do. Like I said, I just wish he'd grabbed the game by the scruff of its neck, just gone and taken the game to him. It was so there, especially in that midfield, to someone put their full stamp on the game. I don't know if people agree with me on this, but I just felt like everyone's been crying out for him, and I was just like, now's your time to do it. And I just wanted, I was literally willing him to be like, right, get your foot on the ball, do it, just to be a little bit more of a spark in that middle. But like I said, everyone knows that he's a good player. He's obviously talented. You can see it, but just wanted to see a little bit more.
I think you kind of have to sympathise though, because he hasn't been playing. Like you say, he hasn't got many minutes under his belt. He's playing with a rotated team. I say at times, I think he got the ball, he looked up and there was a lack of movement. I think he's always trying to play that forward pass and it's not always on because we're so static going forwards, especially in that second half tonight. And I kind of sympathise with him from that side of things because I feel like if he had better players around him, you'd get the best out of Donny because he's such an intelligent player. Like I say, he's always looking to pass forward. But when you haven't got forward runners, it's kind of hard because you're stuck to the side with safe passing. And I think we saw too much of that tonight from Donny. But I'm not blaming him for that. I just think that there wasn't a lot on when he looked up. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. I think technically, he's a tidy little player. Rarely gives the ball away. I love this little flick from Mata. Yeah. He was unlucky not to get an assist for that, to be fair. I was expecting Mata to put that away. So he didn't. I agree with Neil here. He said he didn't control the game enough, and I think he didn't control the game as such. Like Meg said, he didn't get the game by the scruff of the neck. But he had a decent game. I'm probably going to say
a 7. I'm going.
Yeah, 7. I was going to say put him on par with Tellez, like a 7.
Yeah.
Because if you put him right near a 6, that's the same as Williams, and he had a better game than Williams. So yeah, 7 for me. Get in the chat, guys. If you disagree, I apologise, but let us know. Dan James then, Meg.
Do you know what? In the first 20 minutes, I think he put 3 crosses in and not once did he lift his bloody head. And if he had lifted his head up, he'd realise that there was nobody in the box. You're literally crossing to the defenders. It was so annoying and so frustrating that he'd done the hard work, he'd beat his player, he'd got a chance to cross the ball, and he didn't lift his head up to see either the players on the edge of the box and he just lofted one into the back post. I was just sat there thinking, just put your head up, just have a little look to see where your players are. It was very frustrating. Worked hard again, as always. We always say this about Dan James. He does work hard, but I think really that's the only thing that he has going for him right now. If you can't lift your head up and see where your players are, you're just going to be crossing to an empty box, or you're going to be crossing the ball back to a Watford player. It's frustrating.
It's frustrating as well because he's so lightweight, isn't he? Like when he gets the ball, I think he gets brushed off it quite a lot as well. Doesn't really hold it up. Yeah, it's hard. And I think when we're playing the safe passes where there's not a lot of space and behind when teams sitting, Dan James, if he's back to goal, that's not where you want him. You want him spinning off and behind into the space. We know that he's rapid. And I just feel like he's a bit one-dimensional on that. And I really want it to work out for Dan James at United, but I think he's going to switch his game up a bit because, like I say, he's too one-dimensional. And it's kind of pointless having him there if you can't have him running into the space at the minute. It's like, what else can Dan James do? I mean, he had a shot, didn't he, in the second half where he cut in and didn't really have any conviction on it. And I think that he's lacking that confidence as well. He doesn't seem to have any conviction going forwards. He is obviously a confidence player, and you have to appreciate the fact that he hasn't had the run of games as well. So, yeah, I think a very average performance, I'm going to say, for Dan James. Some people go less average, but I'm going to go bang average. I don't think he played badly, but he just wasn't
I think
great.
I'm blue with the 6.5. You're being extremely nice to Dante.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 5 for Dan James, which at the moment is our lowest rated player. At the moment, is our lowest rated. I'll do Lingard next. Jesse Lingard. We said he was busy to start with. Can you give him a high rating for being busy?
I don't think he can, but he wasn't just busy, but he was finding little pockets of space. But again, the whole service and the movement from people further up the pitch than him. It wasn't something that was he wasn't creative with it, but I think you can't be creative unless somebody makes a run at the same time as well. So I think it's difficult. Like I said, been out of the team for a long period of time now. So to come on and actually play for 70 odd minutes or 60 odd minutes, whatever he got, there's a bit of a mixed reaction going on in the chat, isn't there? From a
Lingard.
3 5.
Lingard made me laugh from Shivan.
3 5, 6 7.
I think he did better than James.
It's a really mixed review, which makes me laugh really, because I think we all watch the same game, and football is a game of opinions, isn't it?
That's what I love about it.
We can see here everyone's obviously looking at different things in terms of what he's delivering. I'd actually give him a 6. I think if you're looking across the board, him and Williams 6-ish. Probably better than an average performance, but again, didn't shine.
Yeah, 6 isn't. I would have said a 5.5 or a 6. So yeah, we'll go with a 6. One matter. A player that's so intelligent, and I just wish he put that move with a little flick was just class, and I just wish he'd have finished that off. But how do you think he played tonight, Meg?
I think he did okay. Again, I'm literally probably repeating myself loads that nobody stood out. And a bit of wizardry here and there, but it wasn't consistent. Looked like he wanted to make things happen. I thought him being on the right hand side for me, I'd have wanted him in the 10.
Yeah.
So that he could find the runs of Lingard and Greenwood and James. But he is just like, because he's short as well, just pops up in these little places. I feel like he's short, he could like run through your legs.
Yeah, it's just a clever player. I thought he had a decent game, to be fair, Matt. I was gutted that free kick towards the end though, when he took it, when obviously Tellers just over it, Rashford stood over it, and I was like, yeah, give this Matter. He's always good at this position, and I don't know if he hit the floor, I don't know what happened, but he just seemed to loop up. I was a bit gutted about that. So we've got a 5 there, Maguire gang. Matter was good, but in a poor side, a 6, a 5.5. I want to give everyone loves Matter. I want to give him more, but I can't.
The comment about Matter was good, but in a poor side, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
He was. You know, when you've got 11 players and it's quite a boring game, and you're trying to get somebody to like lift the mood, and it's a really tough crowd. I feel like Matter was like a comedian with a really tough crowd, trying to get things going, but it just kind of wasn't working.
See, I think Matter was as effective as Van der Beek, really. So I think he deserves a 7. I thought Matter got on the ball in good areas, unlucky not to get a goal. I loved his little link up, especially with Donny. Yeah, I think a 6.5 or a 7 is what I'm thinking. What were you thinking for him?
I'd go a 6.5, but if you want to go for a 7, you can give him a 7.
I'll say a 6.5. Maybe I'm being kind because I really like Matter. I'm being a bit biased there, but yeah, 6.5. And then Mason Greenwood up top. I mean, firstly, what did you think of him playing in that central role? He did a lot of runs into the channel, didn't he? Can you see him playing that role?
I think he's got too used to playing on the wing, because he just kept drifting out on the wing. Now I felt like calling to him, like, you're in the centre, mate. Just slide yourself back over into that central position. But I think it showed, and we spoke about the lack of service to Martial the other night, and I feel like we've had the same problem with Greenwood tonight, and that's why he was drifting out, to try and create a bit of movement, to create a little bit of space. So was it because Greenwood was moving, or was it because he was trying to find or create something, and that's why he was going over to the wing a little bit?
Probably because obviously Watford, I think there's a lot of players playing centrally, and it was hard for us to play through them. So maybe Green was drifting out wide because he thinks he's got more chance of getting on the ball down the channels. But like you say, it's all good doing that. But when someone gets the ball out wide, you want to look up and see someone in the box, and all you're seeing is Watford defenders. So it's like you need someone there. I agree. I think he drifted a lot. A 6 seems to be 5.5. 6 seems to be what's going through the chat right now. Thank you so much to De Gea, who said that De Gea says Matter is a gentleman. He is a true gentleman. Like I say, he just seems like a good guy, and I think he's a good player to have in our squad, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. But Greenwood, I mean, 6.5, 5.5. Do we go in the middle of that and give him a 6? What are you thinking?
Let's just go and smack in the middle. Let's sit in the middle of the fence and we'll go for a 6.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think at the same time, you have to look at him and think he's got Dan James one side of him, Matter the other, who likes to drift. I think if you saw Martial and Rashford either side of Greenwood, I think you'd have had a different Mason Greenwood tonight. I think it's just that front three just wasn't fluent at all. Understandably, because they haven't played together, so I get that. We'll go with subs. I'll start with Maguire, because obviously he came on for Boye. How did you think he did when he came on? So he obviously got just over a half, didn't he?
Yeah, just over a half. Again, I don't really want to be going onto Twitter and seeing abuse for Harry Maguire tonight, because I don't think it's deserved. He didn't do anything wrong, except, well, apart from missing a header, but that hasn't cost us the game. It's not cost us a goal. He just didn't get his header down enough to be on target. I think a slight 10 for entertainment. Slightly above average, probably a 6, because I don't think he did much to shine, but I don't think he also did much wrong. He did get a clean sheet. I
agree. I'd say 6. I think he was fairly solid when he came on. I just wish he'd connect with his headers a bit more rather than a 20 pence head. But other than that, I think, yeah, he had a decent game. So Matic came obviously just towards the end, trying to short it up a bit in the middle. It's a bit hard to judge, obviously, when you haven't had long, but what are you thinking for Nemanja?
I was actually surprised that Matic came on. I think we took Lingard off, and I thought we probably would have put another attacker on. But again, nothing that came through. He didn't come on the pitch and take the game by the scruff of the neck in that middle. A 5.5.
We'll go with 5. I think it was average. It wasn't anything above average. I think it was a very average game when he came on. But then again, he's coming into a game like that. Like you say, I was a bit surprised that it came on, to be fair, as well. Don, thank you so much to smash that like button. I'd appreciate it, guys. Please do hit the like button. A few people in the chat, so if you haven't hit the like button, please do hit it. And obviously hit the sub button if you're new as well. Rashford came on, probably should have scored, to be fair. He had that good run, didn't he? And he tried to slot it to the keeper's left. I mean, did you think that he influenced the game when he came on?
No. I think he had that opportunity that he had. Sometimes it's not all about finesse. Sometimes you just got to put your foot through it. You've got to make a proper connection. He did the hard work. It was a fabulous run. Got past the 2 players easily. I think it was Wilmot that he just breezed past. He stuck a leg out, tried to almost take him down, got past him, and then he kind of just side footed. It wasn't far enough away from the keeper towards the back post, or it wasn't hit with conviction enough to catch him off the mark. He didn't hit hard enough to get past him. So a 5.5, a 6, anywhere around that mark.
Yeah, I think 5.5. I'd say slightly above average, but again, not a worldie of a performance. And I think he should have scored. I think he kind of telegraphed where he was going to put it to the keeper. He opened his foot up, opened his body up. The keeper knew where he was going. And like you said, the lack of power as well, it just made it easy. You expect better from him. And then Martial coming on as well. I mean, again, it was fairly quiet for Martial when he came on. Didn't really influence it too much, did he?
No, I think the whole same thing with the lack of service towards the top 3, or movements not being seen and therefore service not being delivered to him. I'd have to go with Kip United's comment here. Martial and Rashford both a 5.5. Didn't overly influence the game, but that's the way it is sometimes, isn't it? You just have to work hard and create something yourself. He didn't. I give him a 5.5.
Oh, it's hard to argue with that. And then I always forget this one, so I'm not going to forget it this time. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what we're giving him, we've got through at the end of the day and we've rested key players. The only one I would question is Eric Bailly.
Yeah, I said it at the start. I did not expect to see Eric Bailly in this team tonight. I'm gutted that we did see him, because now we're not going to see him for at least the next week. Managed to rest a few players. Managed to rest Bruno. That seems to be a very common comment being said. But listen, we're into the next. He's got us into the hat for the next round. Average. I did like the fact that he gave Mctominay the captaincy, though. I will give him that, because I thought that was quite a nice thing to do, nice little gesture. People are saying a 6.
Yeah, I think I'd say above average, because he's rested the team and we've still gone through to the next round and we've got a clean sheet. So I think it's going to be above average, really, even though the game was poor. At the end of the day, it's more about the result in the cup. It's more about just getting through to the next round, especially at that stage. So I think I'd probably give him just above average.
Didn't have to do it in extra time like some people, so...
Yeah. Happened a few times today, to be fair.
Yeah, and we're actually in the hat compared to some teams that they've also dropped out. So the fact that we've done it in 90 minutes, we've rested players, we're into the hat. A win is a win, as they say. I'll take it.
I'm going to say a 6 for Ollie. I'm gutted about the whole Boye thing, and I don't know why we're resting him for City and then playing against Watford. I can't quite get that to grips with that. But yeah, I think it was unfortunate with that happening, though. Henderson came out and did what he had to do, like we say. It was an unfortunate one. It always seems to be Eric Boye in the wrong place at the wrong time. But we got the win and we got through to the next round and we got a clean sheet. So I'd probably say 6.
So just put Curler's 87 has put too much rotation from Molly. It's so difficult to find that right balance. These are games where we're playing a championship team. It's a cup game. We've got a huge game coming up against Liverpool within the next 10 days, 8 days now, just in over a week to go before that game. I think there's got to be rotation. We played Man City. We played quite a strong team against Man City. I just feel like we needed to rotate. The players have gone out there and obviously got the job done. But, it's difficult to say there's too much rotation. And then if he'd have played Bruno and Pogba and Rashford and Martial and started all these players, I guarantee everyone would be saying, they need to have been rotated for this game especially. So I think it's just a real fine line when people do that. I don't know what other people think, but I think it's a real juggling act to find that balance between rotating and resting.
Yeah, I think if he'd have lost today, then you'd say he's rotated too much. But because we got the job done, I think you have to say Ollie got it right. Bar Eric Boye starting, you'd say he's got it right, to be honest with you. And it's a risky one, but he's put trust in his squad depth that he's going to pull through, and they have, just about. But we did. So, and like I said, we kept a clean sheet. I'm blue. FIFA's coming back at some point next week, one of the evenings. I'll do a tweet. I'll be back on ECL Entertainment. We are giving away a Rashford home shirt. Check out my Twitter page. You'll see the pinned tweet advertising what you need to do to get that. So obviously enter, and good luck to everyone who enters. But yeah, I'll be back with the FIFA streams very, very soon. But Meg, we're through to the next round. Bring on Burnley. Hopefully Boye's back in time for the Liverpool game, even not a Burnley game, but Liverpool game. At the end of the day, the win was more important tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, you're in. All you've got to think about with that, like what we're in the third round, that you just get yourself into the hat for the next round. That's it. Yeah. That's all you can do and all you can ask for, especially when you make changes to a team. Literally get the job done. And we managed to do that within the first 5 minutes, and we've just seen it out for the rest of the game. But I'll be intrigued to see who we pull out the hat.
And as you all know, I love when we play against Burnley, my favourite team to watch. So I cannot wait for that one. But me and Meg will be around near that as well to give you some content based on that. Guys, make sure you follow Meg's socials. They're on the screen just below where she is. Obviously, follow mine as well if you don't already. Subscribe to Hairdryer Treatment if you're new. Drop a like on the video. If you miss your comments, I do apologise. I don't do it on purpose. Just drop a comment on the video afterwards, and I will definitely respond to you there, and so will Meg as well. We're through to the next round. We can relax a little bit now. Keep smiling, guys. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and we'll see you very, very soon.